What happened to your high school bully? I had two. One ended up in jail for selling M and beating his girlfriend. Good riddance. The other one went to college and became a chemical engineer. He messaged me on Facebook a while back and apologized for being a bag in high school, which I accepted. Has a wife and a kid now. Seems to be doing good for himself, so I'm happy for him. He made the M to sell to the other bully. Never really bullied me, but others he did. Always lived like no rules applied to him. Saw on the local news a couple years ago he got pulled over for something. Ended up in a high-speed chase. The cops did a pit maneuver and made him spin out. Dipshit pulls a gun and fires at the cops, who in turn shot up his car and him dead. My dentist told me a story about his bully. Just after he opened his practice, he made an emergency appointment because of a cracked tooth. The dentist recognized him, but the bully didn't. Bully got in the chair. Dentist said open wide and started examining him. Then he said, "You don't recognize me, do you?" Bully said no the best he could with the dentist's tools in his mouth. "You used to bully me at school. You made my life heck." Perfect timing. The bully apologized and the dentist repaired his tooth. But imagine how he felt for those few seconds being absolutely powerless. "You made my life heck," high-pitched dentist drill sound. She was popular in high school until the day she got high off spice with her cousin and then stabbed her cousin to death. She's in jail now. Her family is broken, and she swears up and down she did it because God told her to. To be honest, I feel completely horrible for her family. They don't deserve the social backlash and the heartache. I was obese until I was almost 21. Every single person, girl and guy, that bullied me for my weight got fat. I'm now a size 5. It feels dang good to see them in public. Congratulations. Dead. Both of them. One shot himself after he got into so much trouble he thought daddy couldn't bail him out. The other was doing 90 down a country road, drunk off his butt, and the road took a hard left and he didn't. Threw him through the windshield and killed on impact. The road took a hard left and he didn't. Wow, that's dark. Was involved in a motorcycle accident and suffered serious brain damage. Actually made him a much nicer person. That accident knocked the C out of him. Or as I like to put it, it shook his brain into place. He's part owner of an auto parts store I buy from. He's also the second baseman on my beer league softball team I coach. One of my players said they had a guy to fill in for a tournament. So, needing bodies, I agreed. My heart sank when he came strutting up. My player introduced me to him, and he said yes, trophy, and I go way back. I made his life heck in high school. I don't think I'll be welcome to play, but thanks for the opportunity. He turned and started walking away, and I called him back over. Told him that if he's half as good as he was when we were teenagers, he's welcome to play. He immediately agreed, and after the first game, which we won by the mercy rule, he had a long chat with me in the beer gardens. We're good friends now, and he has a permanent spot on my team. And yes, he is still as good as he was on high school. This is a great story. One of mine sniffed a lot of glow and ended up in a mental institution. He's still there last I heard. 2 others attacked me late one night while I was walking near my home. These 2 were constantly in trouble as juveniles. One caught 2 bullets in a fight and died. The other was stabbed to death in a fight. I'm 70 now. I lived a good life after those 2 encounters. Jesus. Congratulations. Well, I never had a high school bully, but my elementary school bully and I are still neighbors. Apparently she stole money from her boyfriend and he came banging at her door and kicking it to get it back. I think her son is 3 or 4 and we are 19. She got a lower back tattoo when she was 12. My father knew she bullied me, but her parents don't, so her mother is always telling how nice I am and how she wishes her daughter and I were friends so I could lead by example. I found him working the counter at Little Caesars Pizza about 10 years after graduation. He didn't recognize me, but he did call me sir. I bet that was the most satisfying smiley pizza you have ever eaten. Similar story about a girl in Starbucks. One became a super good friend once we hit 10th grade. The more sadistic one is dead, and another is in and out of jail. He was my bully in 9th grade. Then I moved schools. From what I heard, he spent most of high school dating emotionally unstable girls and then having messy breakups. all while pining after this one girl who would never give him the time of day. Also, I found out way later from my who knew him well growing up, that he pretty much spent most of his life living in the shadow of his older brother, who was apparently a huge athletic prodigy or something. He ended up going to Drexel for college, I think. I didn't have a high school bully, but I did have bullies in elementary and middle school. The elementary school ones eventually realized it was stupid and we ended up being okay acquaintances. They probably went on to have normal lives. The middle school one, I don't know, but last I saw him he was just as bitter as always. My bullies were all high achievers and are now doing pretty well with their lives. Their moms are friends with my mom, so I could never report the bullying. Mom didn't think people with good grades would ever bully anyone, and that I am the liar because I had bad grades. Parents are fricked up. With all due respect, your mom is a douche. One of them committed suicide. I still drink a few beers on him each year. He wasn't a bad guy, just someone getting peer pressured and having to deal with his demons. The other ones, I've forgiven them, but only for myself. They altered my personality to the worse, but I'm over it. I don't wish anyone anything bad, not even them. Saw him for the first time last month since like 10 years ago. It was in a club and he remembered my face since we always used to fight back then. He bought me a drink and we had a conversation about the old days. He's a dang gentleman now. Died in a rim house explosion. I actually kind of felt bad, but then I remembered he was the first person who slapped me because B need to be put in their place. Well, his B butt was certainly put in place. 6 feet under in smithereens, in fact. Karma's a B only if you are. He became a Disney star after his success on Vine, made millions of dollars, and now lives in a mansion in Cali. You might have heard of him and his younger brother, Logan and Jake Paul. He apologized to me one day, a few months before I moved away, told me that he felt bad about how he treated me, and said that it must have really hurt to be called those names. I told him I forgave him, that we were all just stupid kids. A week later he shot himself in the head in his parents' front yard. I skipped the funeral. I'm not sure why, whether I was scared or tried to play it cool, but there is literally nothing I regret more than missing that. This is strangely heart-wrenching. He bullied me in elementary school when we were very young. Then he changed schools and I didn't see him for many years and pretty much forgot about him. One day my close friend, who has a history of dating very aggressive, temperamental and macho types, tells me she met someone, and it turns out to be him. They date for a while. She is very unhappy. Tells me drunkenly more than once that she plans to leave him. Then she gets pregnant, so they stay together for a while. I get to know him a little better, and he's still kind of a douche, but I think he has a good heart, and just has lots of anger and mental health issues. But he actually seems like he's a pretty good dad. One night my other friend calls me to tell me his body was found on the train tracks. He had killed himself. Eventually find out later that my friend had broken up with him, and they were being evicted from their apartment. I guess he just gave up. He didn't know where else to go. It's sad, and it's too bad he didn't get the help he so obviously needed. I was the bully to some people. If the bully has a soul, they regret everything they did like I have. Sometimes the shame has made me reach out and apologize to former victims with wildly varying results. Middle school bully, got stuck in a loveless marriage and reached out to me 2 years ago, not to apologize, but to try to sell me some health pyramid scheme balls. Usually I'd politely decline, but for her I listed why the product sucked and explained why she was getting screwed over by selling it. I was pretty rude, but she wouldn't take no for an answer. Went so far as to mention how I wasn't looking to gain weight, as from her picture I assumed that's what it did. For a minute I felt bad, but this chick always got on me for being small and how it was unhealthy when she was obviously suffering physically from too much weight. I think she was trying to use her old ways to bully me into buying. Guessing she didn't realize I'm not 12 and have learned to stand up for myself. Went so far as to mention how I wasn't looking to gain weight, as from her picture I assumed that's what it did. That was satisfying. Go to stab back right in the heart. She aged poorly. She's completely grey, at 44, and her skin is super wrinkly. She looks old enough to be my mother, and she's super nice to me when I run into her. That be. Bullied me relentlessly for being gay. 20 years later ran into him and his husband in Provincetown, MA. Killed himself last year. Was weird BC. He actually was super active in the gay community in his city, a major city, and by all accounts was a good guy. Pro tip for gay kids, your homophobic bully wants to frick you. He called me a spotty dog. I had acne, in front of a group of our classmates, who all thought it was hilarious. He had a motorcycle accident in his early 20s and shredded the right side of his face. Lots of scarring apparently. I heard about it secondhand. He didn't deserve it, but it did seem like karma stepped in, or the threefold law or whatever. She got fat. Meanwhile I lost my teenage extra 15 pounds from running and hiking a lot. So now she's the fat one and I'm the thin one. It feels really weird because I remember being a bit bigger while she was skinny and popular. Also, she suddenly doesn't remember being a total C to me and thinks we were really good friends. Frick off, Christy. This could be my aunt. Christy, you made your entire extended family's lives heck. Hopefully at peace with himself, painting watercolors to make a living, having a candlelit dinner with his betrothed, and making amends with the world, all whilst living under an asbestos roof in North Korea. Are unexpected. Not proud of it at all, but I was a bit of a bully to this guy Justin when I was a freshman in high school. It wasn't cool to be gay back then and he wasn't completely open about it as he is now. I was a bit of a frick and I said things I will never repeat. He moved my junior year and I didn't hear from him for a few years. One day I found him on Facebook and apologized for ever judging him and told him how bad I felt for how I treated him. He forgave me immediately and never said another word about it. 10/10 great guy, and I still feel terrible for past me. He ended up matching with me on Tinder and didn't recognize it was me. I had dyed my hair, gotten piercings and lost a lot of weight. Wanted to hook up and I asked if he recognized me. He felt stupid as frick and it was a petty win for me. Her and her brother had a very crappy home life. Their mother was mentally ill and their dad was a gypsy who only dropped by to see them a couple of times a year. I was friends with her and her brother for a few years at secondary school, though we grew apart later on. But while others were scared shitless by her, because of our early friendship, she never picked on me and would sometimes listen to me as a voice of reason. She left school at 16, got into a lot of trouble with the law, and I heard that she ended up doing some time in jail. When she came out, she turned her life around, went back to school to get the qualifications she needed, then went to nursing college. Last I heard, she was a mental health nurse. Whoa, this is truly inspiring. Not a bully per se, but my girlfriend's mom hated me, made my life miserable and caused her daughter to break up with me. I was driving back to university and buying gas. Her mom was working at the gas station. She saw me and looked like she'd seen a ghost. I smiled, put the cash in the counter and walked out, not saying a word. Her daughter became a single mother just like she was. I became an engineer. You are the MVP, bro. She ended up being pregnant at around 17 and her boyfriend, father of the child, dumped her. And honestly, I feel really sorry for her. Like really. I guess I was the butthole in high school. Enormous ego. Thought I was hot crap cause I played sports. Had my fair share of women. All that crap went out the window when I graduated and went to college. In HS, people worshipped you for being a butthole. In college, if you were a butt, people just wouldn't associate them with you. Had a huge reality check and matured, mellowed a lot since then. I've apologized to a handful of people since. Realized my buttholeness was from a lingering insecurity that I had. Thumbs up. You've become a real person. That's awesome. The worst one graduated from college and has gone on to become extremely successful in investment banking. He was working for one of the largest investment firms at first, now has his own company. I am not in touch with him but come from a very small town and people like to talk about the small town boy that made it big. He was freaking ruthless as a bully and downright mean. He thinks he is God's gift to women when he is completely gross. I am convinced he is a sociopath and has managed to get this successful by doing illegal things. I Google him and the company name every so often to see if he has been arrested. I have many friends who are in investment banking. They all hate their jobs and their lives. It's a dreadful career, if that makes you feel better. He's getting money but he's working from 6 AM to 10 PM every day, likely hates his clients, and will end up gaining weight. It's the life of IB, if that makes you feel better. Well, he bullied me for being gay, and while in college he came out as gay, and asked me out on a date after he apologized for said bullying. Date didn't go well, haven't heard anything about him since. My high school bully was myself. I beat myself up a lot and had super low self-esteem. I was in a dark place. I've gotten better about loving myself since then. Stop hitting yourself. There was a girl who very kind to me when I started attending a new school, but she immediately began a targeted bullying campaign against me when I beat her at a spelling bee. It sounds like a ridiculous reason, but apparently her academic standing was very important to her and I made her feel really threatened. She and her mother, who was a teacher at the school, bullied me until my parents decided that I should just switch to another school. However, she didn't end up doing anything interesting even though a reputation for intelligence was so important to her. She just went to one of those mediocre Christian universities, married a dude at 20, began popping out children immediately, gained a bunch of weight, and now looks exactly like her horrible mother. I'll admit that I'm not as nice of a person as I could be, and I do get some amusement about her looking 15 years older than me and doing nothing with those good grades she cared so much about. She never cared about the grades. She only cared about being better than everyone else. I didn't have a high school bully. One of my middle school bullies, however, went to another school after the year she had made me a target. When we were in high school together, she apologized out of the blue for what she'd done in the past. Turns out she had selected another target in this other school and a teacher witnessed the bullying in class and ripped her a new butthole in front of the class. She said it was humiliating and helped her understand what she was doing to people. We were never friends, but we got along okay after that. Joined the army, became a bro type of personality, ran into me in our early 20s. He was a P-up, coked up soldier on leave with two of his squaddy mates, and I was the bouncer dragging his butt out of the place for doing coke in the toilet in front of people. Needless to say, a few years of doors work, and him not having his gang back him up with me on my own but instead two of the toughest bastards, one of whom was ex-army himself, I ever met against him, and his new pals ended badly for him. Last I bothered to check in he was out of the army and now a brickie or something. Guess he's a hero to most, but he's always going to be see who made my life heck for no reason other than I was big. And you've got a great mustache. She got pregnant and married at 18, divorced at 20. Saw her at a club after the divorce and she was trying to get attention from loads of older men, like 50-year-olds. That was 5 years ago. I think she hasn't really done anything since, apart from being a single Sam. Nothing wrong with that, but she wanted to go into social work at school, so it's a shame for her. I never really had a bully, but the main kids at my school who that were just general dongs to anybody outside of their social clique all seem to get married and have kids pretty early, live in the same town. Some of them have bought their childhood homes, and got fat. They also got really into pop country music, which is weird, as we are in a fairly urban northeast area. I'll still see some of them when I come home for holidays. None of them are mean or anything anymore, but maybe 75% of them just seem like life really has beaten them down. I didn't get bullied in school per se, but there was a kid who was 1 year my senior that often poked fun at me, tried to make me the butt of his jokes, and was always trying to one-up me. Fortunately, I have a sharp wit and was able to stand up for myself. Years later, I was visiting my hometown and getting a drink at the local pub. This was on a Friday night and there were a lot of people there that I knew from school, including the guy about whom I'm writing. He came up to me and I expected the worst, but he pulled me aside and actually apologized for the way he acted towards me, bought me a drink, and said he hoped he could get to know me better. We ended up becoming pretty good friends after that. Odds are he got a better job than me, moved somewhere better, actually found a partner, started a family, and his life turned out great. Nobody said life had to be fair. For me it was the opposite. I've traveled all over the world and done all this awesome crap, and recently I went to a local bar and saw a bunch of cool kids from high school and they were raving about this random bar in this stupid town. They ended up being total losers. I'm sure some of them did great stuff, but these buttholes literally were still in the same suburb obsessed with this crappy bar. She got into drugs, histrionic personality disorder. She started doing drugs for attention, had a baby with her fiancé that she met in rehab, now broken up, gained hella weight, and is now in rehab again. I may be a bit smug about it. My elementary school bully apologized to me 2 years after we graduated from high school. She joined the army and I think I remember seeing that she's an open lesbian now. I wish her the best life. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.